and let's get started with installing bamboolib for our private computer. So if you have already bought a license key, you should have received an email already that sent you the license key for bamboolib together with a link to the installation instructions. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through those installation instructions together with you and explain each step so that you can follow along and get some extra hints actually on what you should focus on. Okay, so I go to our webpage, bamboolib.com, and I click here on Get Started. And since I want to use it on private data, I go to Installation Instructions. Perfect. So you have several options on how to install bamboolib. The default option is a normal installation inside of your base environment, so basically just installing it using pip. And if you want to install bamboolib inside of a virtual environment, you can use one of those two links here. But the only difference is that those two links will first let you create and activate a virtual environment, and then you do the normal installation instructions. So let's start with a normal installation. I'm running everything here on a Mac computer, so you should, but I will let you know what's different for Windows. Okay, so when I'm here, it tells me that there are basically two steps. First one is a pip install, and the other one is just installing the Jupyter extensions. So the pip install is the easy part, right? So either use your Anaconda prompt if you're on Windows, or if you're on Mac, such as I am, just use your terminal and run a pip install. Yeah, so for me it's quite fast because I've already all the requirements installed, and well, it lets me know that, so I've successfully installed bamboolib 161. So I'm fine for now. Okay, so the next step is installing the Jupyter extensions. And here it depends on whether you want to use bamboolib together with Jupyter Notebook or JupyterLab. So I'm gonna do both, and I start with an installation for Jupyter Notebook. So if you're in Jupyter Notebook, or if you want to install it for Jupyter Notebook, so if you want to install it for Jupyter Notebook, simply copy and paste those commands inside of your terminal or Anaconda prompt if you are on Windows. All right. So we see that everything worked fine so far. And okay, what's the next step? So afterwards, you can go to test bamboolib, which is over here. And here it says, okay, just start a fresh Jupyter Notebook server and then run a test code inside of it. So this step it's rather important that you start a fresh Jupyter Notebook server after you've installed bamboolib. So please make sure that you do that. Then I open a fresh Jupyter Notebook, and let me go back here to the instructions and paste this test code inside. And it seemed to have worked for me, so that's fine. And if I click on this bamboolib UI button, I see a bamboolib activation view. So here it's prompting me for the activation key. Again, if you have already bought one, you should have received one already via email. If you haven't, please go to bamboolib.com/pricing. So in my case, I have already a key, and that's bamboolib rocks. And I read the terms and conditions, click submit. And after everything is fine, then you will receive that, well, thanks for activating your license, and you can just rerun the code cell and you should be good to go. Okay, now let's rewind and do everything for JupyterLab. Close this here and close this here as well. So when you are installing bamboolib for JupyterLab, you first have to figure out what your version is. So I'm gonna go back to my terminal. Actually, let me shut down the Jupyter kernel here. And clear. So if you run JupyterLab extension list, you will also see the version of JupyterLab that you are running. And this version is critical now because we need to find out what JupyterLab Manager version we need now. So basically the first extension we're installing is the JupyterLab Manager version, and we need to figure out what version we need to install of it. For that, you can click on this link here below this code block. And if you go there, it tells you something about version compatibility. So if you, for example, running JupyterLab 0.30, you should run JupyterLab Manager 0.31. And this line is important for me because I run JupyterLab 114, so I should run this command here, JupyterLab install and then JupyterLab Manager 1.0. Please note here that you can just copy paste that line, it's perfectly fine. But what we usually do is we add a no build flag to that so that it's not already building everything, but just basically adding a folder to JupyterLab, and we gonna build at the very end. So what I'm doing here is I copy this line and I add no build to it. Okay, and now the rest is piece of cake. Copy that code block here that is installing all the other JupyterLab extensions that we need. And then finally build everything. This step might take a while, so I'm gonna fast forward here. Okay, so we're done with installing all the JupyterLab extensions. Now I go back and see what's the next step, and well, actually it's just again testing bamboolib. So now I run JupyterLab and would also now just run this test code, but I've already created this one here. Actually, it's gone through JupyterLab. So I copy and paste this code here, and well, again, everything seemed to have worked fine for me. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that we could help you installing bamboolib smoothly on your computer. If you want us to make more of these installation videos, for example with how to install bamboolib inside of a virtual environment, please let us know.